Do you think that being around your parents suppress your gift? Being around your family?
That's a good question. You know what? Yes, actually. Like it just didn't feel safe. And you know what? It makes sense. Now I'm considered demonized. So
Mm,
if I think that fear that I had of like if I really stepped into my gifts, I will be killed for it or ostracized for it. In a
mm-hmm,
way, I'm living it. So I think my child self knew that these are not things you bring up to your parents. You don't talk about them. If you see something coming by, you just stay quiet to yourself. And this is a generational wound, because I know my mom is gifted too. She doesn't talk about it. I think my
mm,
sisters are too, but they don't talk about it. It's just such a taboo thing. And then you look back, 300 years ago, women were literally killed for the kind of things that I openly talk about. So,
mm-hmm,
and we talk about it in the healer's world that almost every woman I know who are on this path, who is an oracle, who is a spiritual guide, they went through this fear, this really real fear that they're gonna get killed for it. So I felt that with my family the most.
mm.
And now you're seeing, I told you my brother isn't talking to me, my sisters aren't, my mom is in, my dad is the only one who talks to me, but he definitely ignores all the work that I'm doing because it's demonized.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was with them, it was really, really suppressed. And the moment I would part from them, the more it would come through. And it's like I fought it. I fought it so fucking hard. And I fought it in the Marines and I fought it after the Marines. And eventually I gave in, kind of like you after you got out and you went on your journey in the woods and you're like, I surrendered and I let it
Mm.
all flood. But
Okay. So
I
so
guess this is important to talk about too, but so much to
so
talk
so
about.
so here's where I think your book needs that, right? Because you've been fighting you. This is what you've been doing, Rimsha. You've been against you this whole time. So just imagine you on the side of the opposition against you. So nobody was on your side, not even you.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you was losing because even you physically was fighting against yourself.
I was.
So now, who's standing up for you? At least you gotta be on your team. You
I
gotta be on your team. And then get other people to be on your team too. So now nobody was on your team this whole time because you wasn't there, you was afraid, your family wasn't there. So your core being was fighting a battle without you physically being there either. So now, no wonder when you left home, it flooded in because you was finally free. Hmm.
And especially when my mother cut the cords from me last
Mm-hmm.
year. Oh, everything kicked in. The
Mm-hmm.
success has been bigger, the freedom has been bigger, the gifts, the mentors, the system, the God has been really like sending me help. My mother cutting the cords from me gave me one of the biggest gash in my heart, but also freed me.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I don't, I can laugh about my brother's not talking to me right now because I'm like, I know it's not forever, but it's serving me to be free from the way I've been holding my own self back.
Mm-hmm.
You said it right. I think that I was against my own self, just like my mother was, just like my sisters are. I understand it. Just like a lot of women who are gifted are. Maybe even your mother who was very masculine. It's like fighting against the very thing that makes this us because the world around us tells us, what the fuck is intuition? That's not real. What do you mean you felt a hunch? What do you mean you're seeing things? Nobody's gonna take you seriously. So you don't you fight against who you are to fit in, to be part of something. But and you sometimes do that with your own loved ones, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. It's people call it use the language divorce, but it's like severing the ties sometimes with the things that are like preventing you from finding yourself. And right now, you recognize that you have a moment of space and time where you're separated from all of this, so you can kind of find yourself. And once you see it, they gonna believe it because they couldn't be the one that support you to make this thing real. But when the world do, other people do in your community do it, and they're like, oh my God, well, guess what? This is what I was trying to show you the whole time. And now you got to see it and believe it because you didn't believe before you see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we gotta put that in here, like that part of your story. I don't know if you're okay with talking about that piece yet. If you're not, then that's fine. We ain't gonna put it in here. But as far as um, like how what happened once you was separated from the environment you grew up with, and then you was in that space where now you can actually allow you to come through, and what that felt like. Mm. Now I know why you write from pain,
Why?
because it was very painful not to be you. Yeah, I mean, man, that Oscar Wilde quote, "Be yourself, everyone is taken," and when you, it has to be very exhausting, very painful to not be you. It's very exhausting when you're trying to be somebody else, but you, very exhausting. Mm,
Yeah, like fighting your own truth
mm,
and living a life of a lie. Essentially living a life of a lie. And that's why when I saw my ex, my steward, my ex-husband, I remember when he told me he was lying to me for 3 years straight. I like couldn't even be mad at the guy because I'm like,
mm,
I've been lying to myself my whole life. So what is
mm,
3 years? It's like you just showed me, you reflected back to me in the way I love myself, which is with lie. You're
mm,
loving me in the same way I love myself, with
mm,
with this illusion.
mm. You gonna be your book gonna rock, better. I'm telling you right now. This book gonna be it's gonna be something. As a child, I was incredibly spiritually gifted, but my trauma extended beyond the physical.